another day, another round of antibiotics, and another Iowa caucus win for Trump. What a fun season we're in. Okay, but we forge ahead. Let's talk about the implications of this. Initially, based on the entrance polls, NBC News said that this was going to be a much lower turnout for the Iowa caucus than in previous years. And when we say low, we mean really low. It is the lowest turnout in 24 years, with roughly 14, 15, 16%. I've seen a couple different numbers of Iowans showing up. That's of the 752,000 registered Republicans, only 110,000 showing up. Yes, the cold, the frigid cold, I'm sure had something to do with that. But so did this. This was their lineup. And if you think progressive Democrats are disillusioned with their choices, Republicans have it so much worse. Because the MAGA Republicans are just a contingent of the Republican Party, right? The average Republican is a lot more moderate and a lot less insurrection-y and a lot less likely to answer an entrance poll this way, suggesting that even if Trump were convicted of a crime, they'd still vote for him. Where more than 2/3 of those polled believe that Biden was never truly president. He didn't win. This is how Donald Trump pulled off a win. This is his contingency right here, which is actually a real bummer for Ron DeSantis because he was hoping he could steal this block of voters away from Donald Trump. And he didn't. And he immediately went on a rampage blaming the media for projecting his loss too early. Also, I beg of you to go watch the Good Liars video where they hand him a participation trophy. Oh my God. So for all intents and purposes, this knocked Ron DeSantis out of the competition. As I said, he was already out. This guy doesn't have a political career to go back to. He's been fawning all over the evangelical, far right, MAGA Republicans. He won't speak ill of Trump. That was his crew, and they didn't come through for him. Also out of the race, Vivek Ramaswamy officially declares it over and pledges his allegiance to Trump. Now we have a hashtag called Vivexit that I'm so mad I didn't think of myself. One of the things that Iowans did agree with a majority of other Republicans on is that border control, immigration reform is a major issue for the Republican Party and our country, which truly is such a pressing issue for the citizens of Iowa. So the people who showed up to caucus don't think Biden legitimately won the presidency. Think Trump hasn't done anything wrong, willing to vote for him no matter what. That just doesn't represent the average American, even their average Republican American. And so this tells me that there's going to be a lot of apathy at the polls, probably in the general election, if any of these candidates are chosen for the Republican Party. Because even Nikki Haley, who's trying to posture herself and separate herself a little bit, won't speak ill about Donald Trump, other than to say he just shouldn't be president, and has super conservative views, like especially on things like abortion rights, which she's trying to repackage and make look pretty, but we all know what it means. And a majority of Americans disagree with her. They want abortion rights access. You'll see a lot of people reminding you that Ted Cruz won the Iowa caucus and look where he's at. This is true. New Hampshire primary will be very telling. However, historically, the candidate has won either Iowa or New Hampshire and has a pretty good showing at both, unless there's a major misstep. So as we look towards New Hampshire, I want to remind you that number one, we've still got a long primary season to go, but it's not that long, okay? So the idea that Trump could be the nominee for the Republican Party is a real one. But if that were to happen, what we're seeing is a large group of Republicans that are really uncomfortable voting for any of these candidates and would likely stay home on election day. That doesn't mean you should stay home on election day. In the end, I would be surprised if Donald Trump was actually appointed the nominee. I think he'll win a lot of the primary elections because the people who are willing to come out and vote are going to vote for Donald Trump in more mass than anybody else because he's an incumbent president. That said, I think a large part of the party will stay home and won't vote in the primaries. So it's a disproportionate reflection of how well he really is liked in this party. He's not well liked in his party, but none of the candidates are. You're going to see a realignment. You're going to see an ideological shift. The parties are going to transform in our lifetime to look a lot different than they were earlier on.